I'm doing a little video here on an oil change on a Buell Blast. Read some articles where some people were confused about their oil drain plug. Well, you've got a couple of them actually. So if you're looking at the bike on the left side, if you go down near the swing arm, you're going to see like a clamp full of hoses. Now those hoses have these little bitty plugs in them. Okay. Now one of them is usually just the breather. I think it's this lower one. It's just a breather hose. Top on the. It comes from the top of the rocker box, and it's just a breather tube. And there's only maybe a teaspoon or so of oily residue or water mixed with oil, and the other one's gonna gush out on you, as you can see right here. And it's usually about 1.5 to 2 quarts of 2050 weight oil, Harley Davidson, or just 2050 weight. Any dyno oil is fine. Now this other last little bitty skinnier hose is usually that's for your fuel evac type breather tube. Whenever the engine gets really hot, you know, you don't want your gas to kind of boil or anything like that. So you've got these 2 spring clamps on there. Squeeze these, remove them, and then pull these out. One's not going to gush out, the other one should. Let you know you've got a decent amount of oil in there. And then the next one is your left side primary. So you're looking at the left side of your motorcycle here, and it would behoove you to actually get a different exhaust system, because the stock exhaust system, oh, I gotta take out that rivet, replace that rivet. Anyways, the stock exhaust system is really cumbersome. It gets in the way. Okay, so you're gonna see if I can get it here. 2 bolts. This one right here, the closest one to my thumb, the one that's forward, and then there's one right here aft. Okay, this one back here is actually your left side primary oil. This is just for your tensioner, your chain tensioner. If you back out all the way, you can kind of see where it's at. So this is your tensioner bolt, and if you mess with it, you're gonna hear like sounds like a box of rocks inside your transmission case here on the left side primary. And Bank Performance is where I got this upgrade on the rear sets. And what's good about it is, you know, obviously it's rear sets, you get a little bit more sporty look, and you get rid of that big bar that's coming down. I don't have it on my other Blast either. I'm working on it. But when you have this in the way, it's in the way of this plate. And the only way to take this plate off is you got to use a number 28 to 32 Torx bit and a 1/4 inch open end box wrench to take this off, and just barely pop this off, because this thing, there's only that much of a gap to take this off. And I'm just saying, it's a better idea to have this rear set design on here. For one thing, it's much cleaner looking. 2, you can get to your cap here without having to take your seat off, and then having to take those 3 bolts out right here for that left side leg aperture that hangs down. And that way you can do your crankcase change on your oil. And 3 is that it's, well, if you get an upgrade exhaust system, I got a Vance and Hines here, this is kind of old. But what's cool about it is that it's not in the way, because the stock exhaust system is in the way of this bolt and the actual oil drain bolt. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get off. Okay, so that one's kind of exposed. And not only that, the oil doesn't drip all over your exhaust when you start the bike back up. I didn't realize I had such a big dent in my muffler here. Anyhow, so obviously, and the final thing to do is swap out your oil filter on the right side. And when you put it back on, don't ever tighten the hell out of it. just give it a good hand twist snug, because when you take it back off, you're gonna have to really grip it, usually when it's cold. And best to start it up, let it run for about 5-10 minutes. Get your engine nice and hot. Come on, everybody knows to get your engine nice and hot to get the oil running. Alright, so that's basically about it. Oh, and to refill your oil, you guys know that it's a little bitty dipstick right here, right by the steering head. Take it out, and it's roughly about 1.5 to 2 quarts of oil. And I'll put in about 1.5 quarts and then measure, you know, 1/4 cup each time. And then to fill your primary, it's about 1 quart, 1 full quart in this. Take this off, and it's best to actually do the best you can to get this thing tilted up right if you can. You can actually sit on the bike and get a long funnel and stick it in there. Something of this nature. Get a long funnel, stick it in there and hold it. Sometimes if you get a bungee cord right through that little bitty hole right there and hook it on, you can hook it on somewhere on the bike and it'll hold it up. So I'm just waiting for my oil to drain, and then I can move my oil pan a little bit forward so that way I can drain my primary. So I just got some dripping going on here. Anyways, I hope that helps. Like I said, your main oil for the right side primary is one of these 2 hoses, and then your left side primary is underneath right here. Okay, and then fill it up. 1 quart here, 1.5 quarts up on top, up to 2 quarts max. And it's usually because of the oil filter's empty. Some people like to actually put a little bit of oil in their oil filter and then screw it back on. And it does help whenever the engine starts to prime. Whenever you're starting it, it doesn't hurt. It's not gonna kill it. It's such a small engine anyways, and it's kind of rugged. All right, and then, you know, put your plugs back in, put your clamps back on, fill it up with fresh oil, and you're good to go.